Cole watched the stars slide past the shuttle window, a slow river of light against the black. The shuttle moved gently, almost politely, as it approached the massive ring of the Galactic Council station. From a distance, the station looked like a silver halo wrapped around a blue-white planet. Up close, it looked like a city turned inside out and hung in space. He adjusted the cuffs of his dark suit and checked the simple bracelet on his wrist. The bracelet did nothing special. It was just metal and memory, a gift from his mother before he left Earth. It reminded him who he was and who he represented. Across from him, Maria Lane sat with a small tablet in her hands. She was younger than, with steady brown eyes and hair tied back in a neat tail. She kept scrolling through notes and summaries, lips moving slightly as she repeated key phrases in her head. She wanted to be ready for anything, even for things no one had told her about. "Breathing," said in a calm voice. Maria blinked, looked up, and realized she had been holding her breath. She exhaled slowly and gave him a small, embarrassed smile. "Sorry," she said. "Just first time on a station like this. First time in front of that many alien leaders. First time for a lot of things." "First times are normal," replied. "The Council is expecting nervous humans. Let them expect it. That makes it easier for us." She nodded, trying to absorb his calm. "They think we will just say yes to whatever they offer." "They think we will stay quiet," said. "There is a difference." A soft chime sounded inside the shuttle. The pilot, a quiet man named Alex, spoke through the intercom. "Docking in 2 minutes," he said. "Gravity is standard inside the station. No surprises there." No surprises there, thought, but there will be surprises somewhere. He leaned back in his seat and let his mind move over the last few weeks. Strange energy signals on the edge of human space. Patterns that made no sense at first glance, then too much sense when they were taken apart. Warped signatures, ripped space, dead silence where there should have been traffic. When Earth tried to ask a few friendly neighbors about it, responses came back slow, polite, and empty. Then the invitation had arrived. The Galactic Council, an old and proud structure of countless worlds, had finally asked humanity to attend full peace talks. The invitation was warm, full of flowery language about cooperation, harmony, and mutual trust. It sounded like a welcome into a family. Did not believe in coincidences. The shuttle glided into the docking bay. Through the window, could see other ships already docked. Some were sleek and white like sharp shells. Others looked like floating crystals, or dark iron towers, or smooth ovals that seemed to drink in light. Every ship represented a world that thought it had a place at the table above humanity. The hatch opened with a soft hiss. A wave of cool, filtered air came in, carrying a faint smell of metal and something sweet. Stood. Maria stood with him and straightened her jacket twice, as if that would also straighten her thoughts. "Ready?" asked. "No," she said honestly, "but I will walk anyway." "That is all it takes," he said. They stepped out together. The docking bay was large enough to hold a small town. Platforms stretched into the distance. Robotic arms and drones drifted along rails above, moving cargo gently, without noise. Lines of alien delegates walked toward exits, each group marked by a floating symbol that translated into the common language on the displays. A tall figure waited near the human shuttle. Its skin was a deep blue with faint silver patterns like starlight on water. Its large black eyes shifted quickly, taking everything in. This was one of the long-serving attendants of the council, assigned to guide visiting delegations. "Envoy Cole," said, its voice smooth and almost musical. "Assistant Maria Lane, on behalf of the council, welcome. Your arrival has been logged. Your presence is appreciated." "Thank you," replied. "We appreciate the invitation." Tilted its head slightly, as if studying him. "This is your first time on the primary council station, yes?" "First time for both of us," said. "Then you will find our facilities interesting," said. "Please, follow me." The first General Assembly will begin in 1 hour. Until then, we have prepared a waiting lounge for the human delegation." They walked through bright corridors lined with glass and metal. Through transparent walls, Maria could see gardens under artificial light, water flowing in thin streams along vertical surfaces, clusters of distant towers. The station felt like a place that had never known war, only careful design and long tradition. Maria walked half a step behind, quietly watching everything. She noticed small things: guards at intersections wearing the same armor no matter which species they served, security drones floating near certain doors but not others, extra scanners placed at some junctions, quietly humming. This was more than a peaceful station. It felt alert, like a city holding its breath. "Is security always this tight?" she whispered. "On paper, this is a peace summit," said in a low voice. "But I have never seen so many guards in footage of past events." Glanced back. "There are many important delegates present," it said. "Caution is wise." Did not argue, he just made a small note in his mind. Maria did the same. The waiting lounge for humans was a wide room with soft chairs and a wide window showing a view of the planet below. A table held drinks and small plates of food that looked almost like human fruit, but not quite. Everything was polite. Everything was pleasant. "Refresh yourselves," said. "I will return in 40 minutes to escort you to the assembly." When the door closed behind the attendant, Maria let out another long breath. "How do you stay so calm?" she asked. Walked to the window and watched the curve of the planet, the thin white storms swirling over blue oceans. "I am not calm," he said. "I am focused. That is different." Maria moved closer. "You still think this invitation is about those signals, do you not?" "I am almost sure," he said. "They invite us to peace talks while hiding something large. Either they want to keep us calm, or they hope to use us later without telling us why." Maria frowned. "But why hide anything from us? We are not a threat to them." "Not yet," said. "But fear is not always about the present. Sometimes they fear what we could become. Sometimes they fear admitting they are afraid at all." He turned from the window and sat down. Maria did the same, pulling out her tablet again. "Let me ask you something," said softly. "What did you notice on the way here that was not obvious?" Maria thought for a moment. The extra security. The guards did not look relaxed. Their movements were tight, like they were expecting something to happen soon. The drones were not just for show. They were actually watching. The docking bay had several ship repair teams ready, even though most ships there looked fine. And the station corridors had several sealed doors with new locks. Smiled a little. "Good, you saw it too." "You already knew?" she asked. "I suspected," he said. "It confirms what we saw in the data. Something is wrong. Something has the council worried enough to increase security, but not enough for them to admit it publicly. Or maybe they are too proud to admit they cannot handle it." Maria stared at the tabletop. "Do you think that unknown force has reached this sector yet?" "Maybe," said. "Or maybe they fear it will. Either way, they are hiding it." She curled her fingers around the edge of her tablet. "So what do we do?" "For now," said, "we listen more than we speak. We watch more than we show. And when the time is right, we ask the question they do not want asked." Maria nodded. "And if they refuse to answer?" "Then we use what we already know," said. Time passed slowly. A soft chime from the wall announced that the hour was almost over. True to its word, returned, looking as composed as before. "It is time," said. "The council is almost in full attendance. This will be a historic session for your people." Stood, Maria rose with him. Together, they followed out into the corridor again. The path to the assembly hall led through a tall atrium filled with floating lights. Delegates from 100 worlds moved below, their colors and shapes mixing like a living painting. Some were tall and slender, wrapped in flowing robes. Others were small and compact, walking in pairs or trios. Some moved on many limbs, some floated, some glided. A few paused to look at the humans as they passed. Met every gaze with a polite nod. Maria did the same, though her heart beat faster. Somewhere above them, the hall waited. They reached a set of wide doors that curved upward like the mouth of a great shell. 2 guards in silver armor stood on each side. They carried no visible weapons, but there was something hard in their stance that said they did not need to show them. Envoy of Earth announced, the human delegation. The doors opened. The council chamber was round and enormous. Rows of seats rose in gentle steps around a central floor. Each row was divided into sections, each section marked by a glowing symbol that represented a member world or group. High above, the ceiling was a dome of display panels showing and lines of data that shifted and scrolled quietly. In the center stood a low platform with a speaking stand. This was where someone would address the entire galaxy, or at least the part of it that believed it ruled the rest. Led and Maria to a section near the middle rows. A floating sign lit up in front of their seats, Earth. Maria stared at the glowing word. It felt strange and heavy at the same time. Please be seated, said. Procedures will begin shortly. As and Maria sat, soft hums and distant voices filled the chamber. Delegates took their places. Screens flickered to show translation details. Light beams traced patterns in the air above the stage as the automated systems checked every device, every channel. A deep tone sounded through the hall, clear and firm. Conversations faded. The above shifted, centering on the core of the galaxy. An older figure moved onto the central platform. This was Chair, one of the longtime leaders of the council. Its skin was pale gold, its eyes a calm gray. It wore a simple robe with a single band of color along the edge, showing rank without excess. Members of the council, began in a clear voice that the system translated into many languages at once. We are gathered here to discuss peace, stability, and the future of all known space. Today, we also welcome a new voice to this chamber. Representatives of Earth, we recognize your presence and your progress. Your world has shown rapid growth, creativity, and resilience. We believe the time has come to discuss your place among us. Several delegates nodded politely. A few looked bored. Some did not look at the humans at all. Maria listened, but she watched too. She saw tired eyes, forced smiles, small gestures of impatience, words of peace, faces of unease. Continued. This meeting is meant to ensure that all our worlds move forward without conflict. We will present guidelines for trade, travel, and mutual defense. We will also offer Earth a chance to participate in our shared structure, to enjoy the protections and duties of membership. Maria quietly tapped a note on her tablet. The word defense flashed on her screen. She underlined it. Leaned back slightly, not slouching but not stiff either. On the surface, everything sounded normal. A routine welcome, a familiar speech. But between the lines there were gaps. The chair spoke of defense but said nothing about recent border activity. Spoke of stability but did not mention the destroyed worlds had seen in secret data. Spoke for several minutes about history and unity. Then other delegates took turns giving short statements. Some talked about the value of adding humans to their trade routes. Others talked about cultural exchange programs. A few spoke about the need to make sure young races followed existing rules. No one mentioned strange energy signals. No one mentioned the silence at the edge of known space. Finally, after what felt like a small eternity, the chair looked toward the section marked Earth. Envoy Cole of Earth said, "You may address the council if you wish." The attention of the chamber moved like a wave. Hundreds of eyes, lenses, and sensory organs turned toward the human seats. Stood up in one smooth motion. For a second, he felt every gaze like a weight. Then that feeling faded, and he walked down the steps and into the open center. Maria watched him go, her hands folded tightly around her tablet. She knew he had prepared several possible speeches. She also knew he would probably not use any of them word for word. stepped onto the platform and felt a slight vibration under his feet as the system adjusted the audio focus for his voice. He lifted his head and looked slowly around the chamber, giving himself a moment to see every level, every row. "Chair," he said, his voice steady. "Honored members of the council, on behalf of Earth, thank you for your invitation and for this opportunity." The translation system carried his words smoothly across the hall. He could see some delegates watching the small screens in front of them, checking tone and meaning. "We come here with hope," continued. "Hope for cooperation, for learning, and for peace. We also come with questions." A slight stir moved through the chamber. That was not how most new delegates started. "Did not rush. Humans are not as old as your races. We have not traveled the stars as long as you have. But in our short time out among the systems, we have seen signs that trouble is growing at the edges of known space. We have detected unusual energy events. We have found routes where traffic has vanished. We have received fragments of distress from distant worlds." Several delegates shifted in their seats. A few whitened, darkened, or flickered in colors that marked discomfort in their species. Went on. "In the last month alone, we counted 3 sectors where patterns changed sharply. Trade routes went silent. Patrol signals stopped. Even basic background broadcasts ended. We sent quiet inquiries. Some of you answered with kind words but no details. Others did not answer at all." He looked directly at Now. "So we ask with respect, why?" The chamber was very quiet. The translation system hummed softly, but no one spoke. For several seconds, the only sound was the soft pulse of hidden machines. His calm expression did not break, but something in the eyes tightened. "Envoy Cole," the chair said, "your world has been eager in its studies. It is natural to misread certain data when one is new to larger patterns. These things you speak of may be routine shifts. Worlds move. Trade changes. It is not always a sign of danger." Let the words settle. Then he answered, his tone still light, almost gentle. "Of course," he said, "we accept that. And yet on the very route where we saw signals vanish, we later found traces of massive energy bursts. Bursts that did not match standard drive signatures. Bursts that looked like space itself was torn apart. These are not routine shifts." A sharper murmur passed through the rows. Some delegates whispered to each other. Others stared straight ahead, their faces blank but their fingers gripping armrests too hard. Maria's heart pounded. She watched stand alone in the wide circle, one small human in a ring of old powers, speaking a truth none of them wanted to bring into the light. "We came expecting peace talks," said, his voice firm but not aggressive. "We still hope for peace, but we also believe that peace built on silence cannot last. If there is a threat to the worlds represented here, hiding it will not make it vanish. It will only make the fall that follows harder." He paused. "If you wish, we will stay quiet. We will return to Earth and take care of our own, but that would be a waste. Humans are small in the galactic sense, yes, but we are good at facing storms. We are good at adapting fast. We are good at standing when things fall apart. If there is a trouble growing in the dark, we would rather know, and we would rather help." He let his hands rest at his sides and waited. The council chamber was no longer calm. It buzzed with low voices, arguments in many languages, sounds of doubt and fear trying to hide behind formal words. The truth had placed in front of them refused to leave. Maria watched as several of the older delegates whispered with their neighbors, their eyes flicking toward the center again and again. She knew, in that moment, that something had shifted, even if she did not yet know how far it would go. They had expected a nervous human to stand there, grateful and quiet. Instead, they had gotten a clear, steady voice asking the one question they did not want anyone to ask. The peace talks had only just begun, and already they were no longer just about peace. Cole left the council platform with a calm expression, but inside he felt the pressure of 1,000 eyes still on him. Maria Lane watched him return to their seats. She could see a faint tension in his jaw, the only sign that he understood what he had stirred. The chamber was no longer steady. Voices were rising in quiet but sharp tones. Delegates leaned toward each other, some whispering, some arguing. Even the automated system slowed down, as if unsure how to process the sudden change in energy. Maria leaned toward. "Do you think they will answer honestly?" she whispered. "Some will try," he said. "Most will not, but we will learn what we need even from silence." She nodded slowly, though she did not feel reassured. The chamber felt heavier now, like a storm cloud forming inside a closed room. Chair struck a soft tone through the system, calling for order. The voices softened but did not fully stop. "The human envoy has asked reasonable questions," said. "Questions we can discuss in a controlled and respectful manner. We will take a short break so that members may consider their responses. We will reconvene shortly." The lights of the chamber dimmed slightly, signaling the pause. Delegates rose from their seats and scattered through the hall. Some moved in groups, others alone. Many avoided looking directly at the humans. "Come on," he said quietly. Maria followed him as he stepped into the flow of movement. Several species glanced at them with mixed expressions: curiosity, caution, fear. The hall outside the chamber was wide and bright, filled with polished floors and floating displays. Delegates spread out, finding private corners or forming small rings of conversation. Walked with purpose but not quickly. He wanted to be visible but not aggressive. Maria kept close, observing every detail. As they passed a cluster of delegates from a crystalline species, one of them spoke. "Human envoy," it said, its voice like soft chimes. "You speak boldly for one from a young world." "Boldness is not our goal," replied. "Clarity is." The crystalline being tilted slightly. "Be careful. Clarity can break more than silence." Gave a slight nod, then continued on. Maria looked back at the group. "They are afraid," she whispered. "Yes," said. "Fear makes people hide things, but it also makes them reveal things by mistake." They continued walking until they reached a quieter corridor, stopped near a large display showing the station layout. He spoke softly. "Keep your eyes open. Some delegates will avoid us, some will want to confront us, and some will try to get information out of us." Maria nodded. "What about the ones who want to help?" "They exist too," said, "and we need them." A shifting sound echoed down the corridor, a gentle clicking. Maria turned and saw an older alien approaching slowly. It was short and thin, with pale skin that looked almost translucent. Its large eyes blinked in slow patterns. Straightened. "Doctor," he said, "I wondered if we would see you here." Maria blinked in surprise. She had seen the name in some old records, but had not expected to meet the legendary scientist herself. Stopped before them. "Cole," she said, her voice weak but steady, "you ask questions the council does not want to hear. Good, someone needed to ask them." Maria stepped closer, respectful but curious. "Is it true? Are the border worlds gone?" His eyes dimmed. "Some are silent, some are broken, some are simply gone, but the council believes that speaking about it will create more fear, and so they hide the truth." Asked, "Do you know what caused it?" Looked around, making sure no one was listening. "Not fully, but what I have seen is unnatural, something powerful, something from outside our known space. The signatures do not match any species we know. They do not follow predictable patterns. They move like storms made of fire and shadow." Maria felt a cold breath across her spine. Why hide this? The council has fleets, they have centuries of experience. Why not respond? Closed her eyes briefly. Because they fear losing control. If they admit a threat they cannot stop, their authority weakens. Their unity breaks, so they pretend the storm is not coming. Said, "But pretending will not stop it." "No," said, "it will not. That is why your question matters." She stepped closer. "Be careful. Now that you have spoken openly, some will want to silence you. Others will want to use you. You must choose your allies wisely." Before could respond, slowly stepped away and drifted back toward the main hall. Maria watched her vanish into the crowd. She is scared. Everyone is scared. "Yes," said, "that fear will push someone to talk more. We just have to find who." They moved deeper into the station. The break period allowed delegates to spread far, and the corridors became quieter. Near a wide balcony overlooking the garden levels, Maria stopped. "Look." Below them stood rows of plants from dozens of worlds. Some grew tall and thin like waving grass. Others looked like glowing vines. Soft lights made the whole area shimmer in green and blue. But that was not what she pointed at. 4 guards in silver armor stood at the lower level, speaking in sharp tones. Their armor was the same as the guards in the docking bay, but their posture was tense, and one held a scanning device that flickered rapidly. "Watch carefully. They are scanning for something or someone, and they are not being subtle." Maria swallowed. "Is it us?" "Not yet," said, "but something triggered them." The guards moved on, heading toward the transport lifts. Maria exhaled. It feels like this station is a glass ball waiting to crack. "Because it is," said. "The council is balancing old pride with new fear. That does not always hold well." They walked again until they reached a quiet resting area. No one else was present. Sat down for a moment, letting the silence settle. "Maria," he said softly, "what did you notice in the hall when spoke?" She took a slow breath. He avoided details. He avoided anything about the outer sectors. He used soft words, but his eyes were sharp. And whenever you mentioned the destroyed routes, several delegates looked at him before looking away. That means he knows something they expect him to guide. Nodded. "Good observation. That means whatever is happening, the chair is involved, or hiding it." Maria hesitated. "If the threat is as big as Doctor suggests, what can we do? We only have a small presence here. No fleet, no weapons, no authority." Looked up at the glowing ceiling. "We do not need weapons right now. We need influence. We need truth. We need allies. And we need to move before the council moves against us." Maria looked at him, surprised. "Against us?" He said quietly, "If they believe we threaten their stability, they may try to silence us. Not by violence, but by politics. They may isolate us, block our access, or remove us from the summit." Maria felt her stomach tighten. "So we need to act first." "Yes," said. "We need to gather information fast before the next assembly. We need to find someone inside the council who is not afraid to speak openly." Before they could speak further, a soft tone rang through the hall. The break period was ending. "We should go," said. They returned to the main chamber. Delegates were already taking their seats, but the atmosphere had changed. It felt more strained. Maria noticed several guards stationed near entrances now. They had not been there before. "They added security," she whispered. "They are afraid of the truth spreading," replied. When they reached their seats, approached them again. "Envoy Cole," said, its voice smooth but its eyes tense. "The council will continue soon. It would be wise to avoid raising tension further. Many members feel unsettled by your earlier questions." Responded calm. "We did not speak to create tension. We spoke to seek truth." Gave a small sigh. "Truth is sometimes a burden the council prefers to carry quietly." It stepped back before could answer. Maria looked at him. That sounded like a warning. "It was," said, "but warnings only matter when the danger is clear, and right now the danger is still hidden." The lights brightened. Chair stepped back onto the central platform. "Members of the council," said, "we will continue. We will address the concerns raised earlier." A delegate from the tall insect-like species stood. "Chair," it said, its voice clicking softly, "we cannot pretend the human envoy speaks nonsense. Our border monitors have detected strange events as well. We ask for clarity." Another delegate rose from a reptilian species. Yes, our patrols have gone silent in 2 sectors. This is not a minor issue. We demand an explanation. Voices rose from across the chamber. Questions, doubts, fear. Did not speak this time, he only watched. This was what he wanted. The truth pushed out into the open. Lifted both hands. We ask for order. We will provide details, but we must proceed carefully. Panic will not help us. Several delegates muttered in frustration. Maria leaned close to. They are losing control. Yes, he said, which means they will have to reveal something. Finally, after long hesitation, spoke in a slower voice. There is a threat, a new force. We do not fully understand it. We have lost contact with outer sectors. We believe an unknown power has moved into our borders. Our fleets have struggled to track it, and we fear it may reach the inner sectors soon. The chamber filled with shock. Maria felt her breath catch, remained still. Continued. We hid this information because we hoped to solve it quietly. We did not wish to alarm young races. We did not wish to create chaos. But now the situation demands a united response. Stepped forward slightly, though he did not leave his seat. His voice carried enough to reach Maria alone. Now they have admitted it. The next question is whether they have a plan. The chair spoke again. We will form a crisis group. Only senior members will participate. Young worlds, including Earth, may stay informed but must not interfere. Exhaled slowly. There it is, they want us silent again. Maria whispered, we cannot stay silent. We will not, said, but we must choose the right moment. The session continued for another hour. Delegates argued about strategies, resources, evacuation plans, and old rivalries resurfaced. The chamber felt less like a place of unity, and more like a dozen frightened worlds trying to carry themselves alone. When the meeting ended, and Maria walked out with the crowd. As soon as they reached a quieter hall, Maria finally spoke freely. They want to hide us behind their politics, she said, but they do not have control. They do not even understand the threat. Nodded, which is why humanity needs a role in this, even if the Council does not want it. But to claim that role, we need information, allies, and a clear plan. And we need to act before the Council tries to shut us out. Maria felt the weight of the coming days settle around her. Where do we start? Look down the long corridor. We start, he said gently, by finding the truth they are still hiding. And then we show the galaxy that humanity is not here to follow. We are here to guide. The large doors of the council hall closed behind Cole and Maria Lane as the meeting ended for the day. Delegates scattered across the station, forming worried groups or walking alone with troubled faces. The truth about the unknown threat was now exposed, but nothing felt clearer. Instead, the air seemed thicker with fear. Walked in silence for a while. Maria could tell he was thinking deeply. She waited, giving him space. The hall lights reflected gently off the floor as they moved through the wide passage, the quiet hum of the station following them. Finally, Maria spoke. The council is falling apart. You saw it. They are confused, they are scared, and they want to control everything even when they cannot. Gave a slow nod. They have built their authority over centuries. Admitting weakness is not something they do easily. Maria looked at him. So what do we do now? They will try to keep us out of their crisis group. They will try to silence us again. Stopped near a glass wall showing the stars outside. We cannot wait for their permission anymore. If the threat is real and growing, we need to know more. We need to find the real data they are hiding, and we need to find allies. Maria breathed in slowly. If they catch us looking for information, they might expel us from the station, maybe worse. I know, he said, but truth is more important than safety right now. They walked toward the living quarters assigned to Earth. The halls were less crowded here. Only a few delegates from smaller worlds passed by, looking tense and distracted. When they reached their room, closed the door and activated a privacy field. A soft light shimmered around the edges of the room. "We need to think carefully," said. "There are 3 things we must focus on." Maria sat on the edge of one of the simple chairs. "What 3 things?" "First, where the council keeps their classified reports. They will not share them, but they must exist. Second, who inside the council is willing to speak honestly? Doctor told us part of the truth. Someone else knows more. Third, we need to understand the pattern of this unknown force. If we can predict where it will strike, we can help before it is too late." Maria nodded. "And where do we start?" Smiled slightly. "We start by walking into the places they believe humans are too afraid to go." Maria blinked. "Where exactly?" He tapped a small map on the display. "The research wing of the station. The council sends all classified science reports there. They believe it is safe because only high-level members can enter, but that is only the official rule. There are still ways in if we are careful." Maria swallowed. "So we are going to break into the research wing?" "No," said softly. "We are going to walk in calmly, confidently, and politely as if we belong there. That is the best disguise." She stared. "You cannot be serious." "Confidence opens more doors than codes," said. "And today, the council is so busy arguing that no one is watching the details." Maria slowly stood. "All right, if we are doing this, then I will follow you, but we need a plan." Nodded. "We will move now, while the council members are still distracted by the crisis group meeting. No one will expect humans to walk into the research sector during all this." They stepped out of their room and moved quickly into the hall. The privacy shimmer faded behind them. The path to the research wing was deeper inside the station. They passed tall windows showing docking arms and moving ships, then crossed through a long corridor lined with glowing panels showing alien technology. Maria kept her eyes wide open, studying every scanner, guard post, and door. When they reached the research sector entrance, they saw 2 guards in dark armor. These were not the silver-armored security officers seen earlier. These guards looked stronger, more focused, and far less forgiving. Maria whispered, "We cannot get past them." Did not answer. He walked forward calmly. Maria nearly grabbed his arm but stopped. Her heart beat fast as she followed. One of the guards raised a hand. "Restricted sector. Only senior council members permitted. State your purpose." Spoke in a steady voice. "Envoy Cole of Earth. I am here under direct request to review scientific data about the outer sectors. The council is discussing the threat. If Earth is expected to stay informed, then I require access." The guard stared at him without blinking. "There is no record of that request." Leaned slightly forward. "That is because the council is arguing right now. They are not thinking clearly. I am. If you deny us entry, you will be responsible for delaying information the council desperately needs." The guard hesitated. Maria held her breath. The second guard glanced at a wrist device. Its screen flickered with updates. "Council activity is high. Many orders are delayed. Error in system." Kept his voice calm. "We will not cause trouble. We simply need to access reports concerning border signals. If we are wrong, the council can correct us later. But if we are right, then time matters." The first guard looked at the second. A long silence passed. Then the first guard stepped aside. "Very well, you may enter, but you will be escorted." Smiled politely. "We appreciate it." Maria nearly let out the breath she had been holding. The guards led them inside. The research wing was quiet and cold. Lights hummed softly overhead. Rows of data terminals stretched across a wide room. Each terminal glowed with blue light and flickering symbols. Immediately noticed something. Half these stations are offline. Maria walked to a screen and tapped it. These systems were shut down recently, on purpose. The guard spoke. This sector has been reorganized under temporary protocol. Access is limited. Maria whispered too, this place used to be full, now it looks abandoned. Nodded, something is very wrong. They approached the main console at the far end. The guard stood back, watching but not interfering. Placed his data bracelet onto the console. It blinked in confusion, then tried to identify him. Authorization level insufficient, the console said. Maria frowned. We cannot access anything. Leaned close and spoke. Override under Emergency Threat Protocol 17. The console paused. The guard looked up sharply. How do you know that protocol? Kept his voice steady. Earth studies everything it can, even the things we were not supposed to. Maria stared at him. She had no idea how he knew that code. The console clicked. Protocol recognized. Limited access granted. Pages of data opened. Maria stepped close. Look at this. The screen showed maps of the outer galaxy. Many areas were marked in red, showing lost contact. A few were marked with swirling patterns. She tapped one. These are the signatures, the strange patterns we saw before. Studied the data. They are growing, expanding, and these readings, they came from opposite sides of the galaxy, two fronts, not one. Maria whispered, how can one force attack so many sectors at once? Scrolled deeper. They are not attacking randomly, they are moving towards something. He highlighted several points. A curved line formed. Maria gasped. They are converging toward the inner systems, toward this station. His jaw tightened. The guard stepped closer. What are you looking at? Turned the screen off instantly. Classified details that we are still interpreting. We will share them if needed. The guard narrowed his eyes but said nothing. Maria whispered, we need to get out of here. Yes, he said softly, we have what we need. As they walked back toward the entrance, Maria could feel tension growing behind her ribs. The research wing felt colder, heavier. Something in the air felt like the calm before an explosion. When they stepped out into the main corridor, the guards sealed the door behind them. Maria let out a shaky breath. That was too close, much too close. Walked forward, but we got the truth. Not all of it, but enough. Now we know. The threat is real, powerful, and moving toward the council, and they are already too late to hide it. Maria hurried beside him. But what do we do now? We cannot show the council yet. They will shut us out again. Nodded. We cannot go to the full council yet, but we can go to someone who will listen, someone who still believes in truth. Maria blinked. Doctor. Yes, said. She knows more than she shared earlier, and she warned us for a reason. We need her help now. They moved quickly toward the science levels, where Doctor usually stayed during council sessions. The walk felt longer this time. Every corner felt tense. Every shadow felt heavier. Maria looked around. Do you notice something? Yes, he said. The station feels wrong. Lights flickered slightly overhead. Distant alarms beeped from other floors, too faint to be normal. Security drones moved faster. The fear in the station was rising. When they reached Doctor's room, pressed the chime. A soft tone answered. The door opened. Looked weaker than before, her pale skin almost silver now, but her eyes were sharp. You came sooner than I expected, she said. Stepped inside. We went to the research wing. We saw the data. The threat is coming here, and soon. Closed the door and activated a deep privacy field. Yes, I feared that. The council has been arguing for days. They talk about unity, but their worlds are acting alone. Maria asked, why are the readings so strange? They look like storms. They come from two directions. Sat slowly. Because they are not ships, they are not fleets, they are something else, something alive, something hungry. And Maria stared. Continued. Long ago in the old records of ancient races, there were stories about beings that lived between stars, not planets, not ships, something older. something that the galaxy believed had vanished. Maria whispered, "You think it is real?" Nodded, "Not just real, returning." Asked softly, "Why hide this?" "Because," said, "the Council is terrified. If they told the truth, chaos would spread. Worlds would blame each other, fleets would collapse, and the threat would feast on the disorder." Maria felt cold, "So they lied." "Yes," said, "but lies cannot stop a storm." Stepped closer. "We want to help, humanity wants to help, but we need real information, everything you have, everything the Council hides." Closed her eyes for a long moment. "Sharing this is dangerous, but you are right. The galaxy needs help. It needs someone who is not trapped by pride and old rules." She opened a drawer and pulled out a slim device. It held dozens of glowing symbols. "This contains the old records," she said. "Data the Council keeps hidden. If you want to understand the threat, start with this." Accepted it with quiet respect. Whispered, "And hurry. The storm is closer than any of us want to believe." As they left room, the entire station shook for half a second. A low alarm began to sound in the distance. Maria froze. That was not normal. Looked toward the nearest window. The stars outside flickered. Something was coming, and the galaxy was running out of time. The moment the station shook, Cole felt the vibration run through the floor and into his bones. It was not a normal tremor. Space stations of this size were built to absorb movement, but this was sharp and alive, like something had struck the outer shields. Maria Lane grabbed the wall for balance. What was that? Looked out the nearest window. The stars flickered again, not like natural twinkling, but like something massive was passing between them. "It has begun," he said softly. The distant alarm grew louder. A voice echoed through the station's speakers. "Attention! All delegates return to secure areas. This is not a drill. Repeat, this is not a drill. Unknown disturbance detected in outer perimeter." Maria felt her heart race. "We have to go to the council hall. They will need everyone." Shook his head. "No, they will just argue. We have information they do not have, and we need to understand it before we speak." He held up the old data device that Doctor gave him. "This has answers," said, "but we need a secure place to open it." Maria looked around. "Where can we go?" "The observation deck," said. "It is quiet, and if something attacks, we will see it coming." They ran through the hall as lights flickered overhead. The station was beginning to panic. Delegates hurried toward their rooms or moved toward the central sectors. Guards rushed past, weapons ready, though none knew what they were facing. Maria kept close to. She could feel the tension in the air, the growing fear rising like smoke. They reached the wide observation deck, a long room with a curved wall of glass looking out into space. The room was empty. Activated a low-level privacy field. It shimmered around them like faint mist. He placed the old device on the table. "Maria," he said, "help me decode this. Doctor said it holds old records. If we can understand what the threat is, we can explain it to the council." Maria tapped the device. It projected a glowing map of the galaxy, thousands of points of light representing systems and worlds. Then the lights dimmed. The map shifted. It showed an older galaxy, one from thousands of years ago. Maria whispered, "This is ancient." Nodded, "These are old star charts, before many modern empires existed." Slowly dark shapes appeared on the edges of the ancient map. They were not ships. They were not planets. They were clouds, wide and swirling, moving like living storms. The device translated old symbols into simple words. Star Eaters, void storms, outer shadows. Maria gasped. "These are the same patterns we saw in the new data." He tapped the next sequence. It showed worlds being swallowed by the dark clouds, not by weapons, not by fire, but by something that simply erased them. Maria felt cold. These things they do not conquer, they destroy, they consume. Read the final note on the display. Only unity stopped them. Only one voice led the galaxy. Only cooperation survived the storm. Stood slowly. The Council is failing to unite. That means the storm will reach us without resistance. Maria swallowed hard. So what do we do? Stared at the glowing map. We show the Council the truth. We show them what happened before. We show them that their old rules cannot save the galaxy this time. And then? Maria stepped closer. Then what? Then humanity leads, said. Before she could respond, the station shook again, harder. The alarm changed tone. Impact detected on Shield Layer 3. Shield integrity dropping. All delegates moved to emergency positions. Maria looked out the window. Something moved in the distance. A massive, shifting cloud of darkness, lit by sparks of unnatural light. It pulsed like a living heartbeat. She whispered, "It is here." He grabbed the device. "We have to go, now, to the council hall." They ran through the corridors. The panic was worse now. Delegates ran in every direction. Guards shouted commands. Lights flickered to emergency red. When they reached the council hall, the doors were wide open. Many delegates were already inside, shouting over one another. Chair stood at the center platform, trying to restore order. "Silence," shouted. "We cannot act if we do not remain calm." But calm was impossible. Walked forward. Maria followed, holding her breath. Many delegates turned to look at them. Some shouted. "The humans have no place here. They caused this panic. They asked questions that should not be asked. Ignored them." He stepped onto the central platform. Raised a hand. "Envoy Cole, this is not your place." "We do not have time for old rules," said. The room froze. Held up the old device. "This storm is not new. Your records prove it. Your ancestors fought this threat long ago, and the only reason they survived was because they united every world, every fleet, every species." He touched the device. The projection filled the entire hall. Everyone saw the old galaxy. Everyone saw the storms. Everyone saw the worlds vanish. Gasps filled the room. Maria stepped forward. "We have seen the new data. The patterns match the ancient storms. The threat is not a fleet. It is a force of nature. It is alive. It destroys anything in its path. It is coming here." The delegates were silent, eyes wide, bodies stiff. Spoke again. "Your old structure cannot handle this. Your crisis group argues while the threat moves closer. Your rules prevent cooperation. Your pride blinds you. If you keep acting this way, every world in this hall will fall." One delegate shouted, "Then what do you suggest, human?" His voice grew strong. "You need leadership, not tradition, not pride. A voice that can unite worlds. A voice that is not tied to old grudges. A voice that sees the galaxy as one family, not a collection of rivals." He took a breath. "Humanity offers that." The hall exploded with noise. Some shouted in support. Others shouted in anger. "Impossible. They are too young. We need someone neutral." Maria raised her hands. "Listen, humanity does not want to rule you. We want to save you. We want to create a command that responds fast, thinks fast, and acts for everyone, not just the oldest worlds." Pointed to the display. "This threat will not stop. It will not wait. If you want to survive, you must trust someone who is not trapped in your old system." Several delegates whispered urgently. Some nodded. Some hesitated. The storm outside flashed again. The lights flickered. Another alarm roared. Shield Layer 2 failing. Panic rippled through the chamber. Then Chair lifted a hand. Silence fell slowly. Looked at for a long moment. The chair's eyes were tired, full of the weight of centuries. Finally spoke. "Humanity is untested, young, reckless, inexperienced, But today, your envoy has shown courage, clarity, and strength that many old worlds lack. The hall watched, raised both hands. I propose a temporary command structure, a united fleet under the guidance of multiple species, with humanity sharing leadership. The hall erupted again. But this time, the noise was not all anger. Many agreed. Some resisted. But the storm outside struck the shields again. And that sound spoke louder than any argument. One by one, delegates raised their approval signals. Watched as the vote spread across the hall. Maria's heart swelled. The final tally appeared above them. Approved. The galaxy had chosen unity. Stepped aside. Envoy Cole of Earth, you will help lead the united response. Prepare your plans, the fleet will listen. Bowed his head slightly. We will not let the galaxy fall. The hall trembled again, as the storm pressed harder against the shields. Looked at Maria. It is time, he said. Maria nodded. Yes, now the real fight begins. And as the storms closed in, humanity stepped into a role no one had expected. Not the youngest, not the weakest, but the leaders the galaxy needed. For the first time in history, the Council looked to Earth. And humanity did not look away.